And it now looks like the judiciary is the last line of defense for the deputy president. But what other options exist? Because he appears to be facing insurmountable odds ahead over the impeachment hearing in the Senate if voting in the National Assembly on Tuesday is anything to go by.
Now, the birth of the broad-based government means Azimio and Kenya Kwanza coalitions command a majority in the upper house.
But the DP can still keep his job if he manages to convince at least 23 of the 67 senators that that will vote against the removal or for the removal.
Now, political reporter Abdiaziz Hashim looks at the options that the second command has in his fight for political survival.
The historic debate in the National Assembly last week was intense.
When the deputy president is at the forefront demeaning women in leadership.
Kenyans have said that Kitrisendo in particular said, kufa makanga, kufa ndereva, kufa mechanic. Because Kenyans are more serious issues.
I urge members to find favor with my motion from clause 1 to clause 11. And as you vote to impeach Mr. Rigathi Gachagua.
Rigathi Gachagua has learned his job from his boss, that public officers must be called to order when they fell short of expectation. And I never saw anybody bring William Ruto here for impeachment or criticizing the IG or the DCI.
From the onset, the mood of the House was telling of the fate that was likely to befall the DP, with a majority of legislators faulting his leadership. And when the motion was voted for,
the ayes, 281.
Come forward.
A verdict that set the ball rolling, leaving little legal room for reconciliation or dialogue.
Tuache malumbano yao bungeni na katika Senate na hata katika kotini, lakini sisi tufanye kazi yetu kwa pamoja ya biashara.
And with the horse having left the barn, on Wednesday the DP will face the Herculean task of pleading his case before the senators.
And the Senate shall then investigate the matter in plenary on Wednesday the 16th and Thursday the 17th of October 2024. The Senate is accordingly guided.
August House passed a blanket judgment into him. But when you go to the Senate, it's going to be one item after the other. But then when you look at the 3 counts from where he was being charged and you try to battle each of these, the 11 counts of accusations against him, you find that what happened in the August House is always going to happen in the Senate House, and majority of those charges are going to pass through.
To survive politically, he will need to convince at least 23 of the 67 senators to vote against his removal.
In accord with Article 8 of the agreement, power would be allocated the position of the Speaker of the Senate. He negotiated for himself.
Rigathi is on record stating that he will not throw in the towel.
There was a lot of speculation that Rigathi Gachagua wants to resign.
Legal minds argue that Gachagua and his battery of lawyers can premise their case on the happenings on the floor of the House that led to 282 MPs voting in favor of his ouster.
Issues like public participation and whether he was given an adequate opportunity to prosecute his case. There were issues about some of the videos being shown to him for the first time on the floor of the National Assembly. And then obviously public participation. The public seemed to be against the motion, but the results given by the National Assembly seemed to indicate that the public was overwhelmingly in support. The kind of violence that attended some of those sessions, including at Bomas, he has the chance to go to court. For example, the question whether they should have listened to both the mover and Gachagua first, and then sought public opinion, having heard both sides to the dispute, instead of presenting the public with one side of the story. And there's always the danger of a single side of the story. Those are live disputes before the court.
As the dust settles, the gravity of the political acts before him cannot be ignored.
Irrespective of the statements that we want to put forth in terms of maturity, in terms of the kind of persons we have there, we're in one political field, the Kenyan political field. How politics played in the August House. If we extrapolate that to the Senate House, a majority of 75% voting against him, if that is extrapolated to the Senate House, then we would see a difference. If we borrow what happened to her and the way things have gone, there could be a lifeline. There could probably not be a lifeline, but as soon as the Senate decides, then we have a different playing field. That would require another level of intervention, which I don't think would give him a lifeline. From where I'm sitting, I think if Senate passes that he has to go, then we go into our history that we have impeached a deputy president for the first time in the last many years that we have been an independent country.
His political career hangs in the balance, and the option for a clean exit are rapidly diminishing with resignation off the table.
On nonsensical allegations, simply because a decision has been made that Rigathi Gachagua is no longer useful to this administration. He is a spent cartridge. His work was to help fight Uhuru Kenyatta and get President William Ruto to power, and thereafter he is of no use, so he should be dispensed with.
So if impeached by the Senate, what next for the DP?
Okay, so he has the option of going to court. The matter is purely political, with the court having no jurisdiction. But if you look at Article 165 3D, it says that anything done under the Constitution belongs to the jurisdiction of the court. Impeachment is one of the things done under Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution. So he has a right to go to court.
If the DP had opted to resign, he would have been entitled to his benefits.
That if that impeachment goes through and we see the current deputy president becoming a jobless person in this country in terms of political office holding, then the democracy of this country is advancing.
And as the Senate prepares to deal with the matter this week, it is not lost that already there is talk of who shall succeed him as the deputy president if he is ousted by the Senate in a process outlined in Article 149 of the Constitution. It is now a game of wait and see if the Senate will uphold his impeachment and seal his political fate, or if he will survive and stay in office.
He must put that in consideration when he's electing the next person. If this impeachment goes through, who is going to deputize him? He must think, who is this person that when I bring on board is going to act as a neutral factor and a unifying factor to bolster my position as the president of this Republic of Kenya? And he has a huge choice. He has so many persons that he can bring there. He needs also to be forward-looking.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Sunday Express.